Most guitarists just think that you need to practice more to get better. But what if I told you that it's not how much you practice, but how you practice that actually truly matters? In this video, I'm going to break down the science of how the pros really build skills, using insights from the book The Talent Code by Daniel Coyle. You'll learn why playing slow, making mistakes, and practicing deliberately could be the fastest way to level up your guitar playing. This isn't about talent, this is about training your brain to build real skills. So let's get into it. Let's get something straight right now. Most people think great guitarists were born with something special, like they popped out of the womb playing Van Halen solos. But the truth is, that's a myth. The players we admire didn't magically inherit skills. What they did have was the willingness to practice differently, to struggle through things most people avoid, and to show up again and again and again, even when it wasn't fun. You're not lacking talent. What you're missing, if anything, is the right strategy and the right mindset. The Talent Code breaks this down beautifully. It shows that talent is actually the result of consistent effort, focused repetition, and time spent pushing your limits just outside your comfort zone. So if you ever felt like I'm just not good enough or I'm just not naturally talented, let me remind you that you don't need to be born talented, you just need to grow it, and you absolutely can. So if talent isn't the secret sauce, then what is? Well, it all comes down to one thing: deep practice. Deep practice is a type of focused, intentional practice that's different from the way most people approach learning the guitar. Instead of just playing songs over and over again, deep practice is more about slowing down, identifying where your weak spots are, and working on them. Now, you might be wondering, why slow down? I just want to play fast. The reason you want to slow down is because your brain needs to focus and learn each little detail in order to get better. It's like building a house. You need to start with a strong foundation before you put up the walls, right? The same goes for guitar playing. So let's break it down into three main steps of deep learning. The first one is chunking, or breaking things down into smaller pieces. Imagine you're learning a difficult chord change, and every time you try to play this chord change, your fingers get tangled and they just feel awkward. So instead of just playing it over and over again, you just isolate the tricky parts. For example, let's say you're trying to play a C chord to a G chord, and every time you try to do that change, one of your fingers always stumbles over a string. Focus only on that part of the movement. Slow it down, isolate that one small chunk of the process, and just practice that. This is called chunking. You take one task and you break it down into smaller chunks, and you practice those smaller chunks, and then as you get better with those chunks, you can slowly add more and more to it, to where you get to the point where you can play that scale or you can play that chord change with much ease. Now here's where things get really important, and that's repetition. A lot of guitarists, and I know that I've been guilty of this in my earlier years, we feel like we need to practice hours upon hours upon hours just to get better. But here's the catch: if you're not repeating the right things, you're never really going to improve. The key isn't to repeat things over and over again. It's actually to repeat things with focus. Make sure you're repeating things correctly and slow at first, and then the speed that everyone wants will come after. So if you're practicing a scale or a lick, repeat it slowly, making sure that everything is clean and precise. And if you make a mistake, fix it before you continue. This is where deliberate practice comes in. Each time you repeat something, you're reinforcing the movement and making a stronger connection to your brain. Now, this next point, again, is also important because it shows that mistakes are not bad. Actually, we kind of need them in order to improve. Whether you mess up a scale, chord progression, or rhythm, your brain sees that and goes, okay, we need to fix that. And every time you do fix that, you're reinforcing your brain and telling it this is the right way to actually play it. Think about it like this. When you're learning a new language, you don't just repeat what you already know. You make mistakes and you learn from them and then move forward. The same principle applies to learning guitar. So instead of getting frustrated every time you make a mistake, embrace it as part of the process. The more you make and correct, the more you will grow. Now here's the thing, deep practicing isn't always easy. It requires patience and willingness to struggle through the tough parts. But that's exactly why it works. The struggle is where growth happens. So the next time you practice, remember, slow down, practice on one piece at a time, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how you build a real solid, strong foundation for your playing. All right, so we talked about deep practicing. Now let's go one layer deeper and let's talk about what's actually happening inside your brain when you're playing not just guitar, but any musical instrument. There's something inside your brain called myelin. Think of myelin as an insulation around a wire. When you send electricity through a wire, the insulation helps it move faster and more clearly. In your body, your nerves are like wires. They carry messages from your brain to your fingers. And myelin insulation helps those messages travel faster. And every time you practice a skill, whether it's scales, chord changes, or a riff, your brain sends those signals through wires. And when you practice the right way, your brain starts to add more insulation to those wires to make that communication be a lot quicker and smoother. That's what makes your fingers move faster, for you to play the notes more correctly, not miss them, and for you to feel like you have more control over your fingers. So here's the big idea. The more deep focused practice you do, the more myelin you build. And the more myelin you have, the more stronger and faster not only your guitar, but any instrument that you're trying to learn, those skills become also much stronger and better. So let me say that again. Skills is not in your hands, it's actually in your brain. But here's the catch. The more you practice something wrong over and over again, your brain is still building myelin, but it's building it around that wrong movement. That's why it's important to practice correctly and slowly at first. You want your brain to build the right pathway. The cool thing is, this works for anyone. It doesn't matter where you are in your progress of playing, your brain can always build new myelin. And the more you do it, the more automatic things start to feel. And that's how professionals seem to play with almost no effort. It's not magic, it's just a lot of deep practice and a whole lot of myelin. So the next time you're practicing and something feels hard, remember, every repetition is building something powerful in your brain. You're not just playing a musical instrument, you're wiring yourself to be great. Let me ask you something. Have you ever practiced for a long time, but you still felt like you didn't get any better? It's frustrating, right? You put in the time, but you're not really seeing the results. And that's because practicing not just guitar, but again, any musical instrument is not about how long you practice, but how you practice. So if you're practicing for 2 hours, but you're distracted, you're tired, you're just going through the motions that day, it won't help as much as 10 minutes of focused, smart practice. This is what I mean when I say practice smart, not just harder. So let's talk about what actually smart practicing looks like. So the first one is small chunks of time beat long, lazy sessions. So instead of practicing for one long session, break your time down into shorter, focused blocks. So try 10 to 15 minutes of practice with no distractions at all. And you'd be surprised, this kind of short, focused work actually builds up fast. Just like brushing your teeth every day works better than brushing your teeth for 2 hours once a month. The second is to set a clear goal every time you practice. So before you pick up the guitar, ask yourself, what do I need to get better at today? It could be something like practicing going from a G to a C smoothly, playing a guitar scale more cleanly, or practicing a new strumming pattern. When you know what you actually want to focus and improve on for that practice session, your brain can actually focus and build those skills faster. So the third one is to record yourself and listen back to it. And I know this can feel a bit awkward listening to yourself back because it might not be the best sounding audio at the moment. But trust me, hearing yourself back, listening to the mistakes, you get to know specifically what part of that skill you need to work on to fix. So don't be too hard on yourself. This is how we experience growth while learning a new musical instrument. I mean, even the pros did this at one point, so don't feel like you're behind or anything. And the fourth one is to keep a journal, writing down exactly what you did that day, what you did wrong, what you try to improve. Any little detail like that can really help with you looking back and knowing how you've progressed throughout the years. It's kind of the same thing as I talked about of listening back to yourself. And for this, you can use an actual, physical notebook, or you can use the notes on your phone or your tablet or your computer to keep track of your progress as you've gone along. So the fifth one is to end each session with a win. And by that, I mean, end it playing something that you enjoy. Maybe you enjoy playing a scale and knowing how you can get across the neck. Maybe it's your favorite song that you want to play. Something that'll keep you wanting to come back to this instrument. Something that keeps you eager to want to improve yourself the next day when you sit down and practice. So remember, every time you practice, don't sit down and say, how long should I practice? Tell yourself, what do I need to practice today to get better than I was yesterday? And this mindset will take you so much further than time alone ever could. You've made it this far. You now know about deep practicing, how your brain grows as it builds myelin, and how to practice smarter. But there's one more ingredient that you need if you want to keep on going, even when it gets hard. It's called ignition, and that's a word used in the talent code, and it's a powerful one. Ignition is what lights your fire. It's what motivates you. It's what made you want to say, I want to try this and I want to actually get better at it. But everyone's ignition is different. Maybe you were inspired by hearing a song or seeing a live band perform, or maybe one of your friends, you saw them how much fun they were having and you wanted to get in on that fun by trying to learn the same instrument. But whatever it is, that's usually what ignites your spark. But you don't always have to feel that spark in order for you to want to practice every day. That's not realistic, but you can remind yourself of your why. So when things are getting tough, maybe that chord progression, a chord change is being too difficult for you. Maybe that guitar solo is driving you crazy. Always sit back and remind yourself what exactly inspired you to want to pick up this instrument. Was it a band? Was it a friend? Was it a specific emotion that you felt that day when you heard that song? Always try to remind yourself of what exactly motivated you. But even then, having little subtle hints around your room, such as a poster of your favorite artist or your band, a picture, a book, something that can remind you without you even thinking about it. In my room, I used to have a bunch of posters everywhere as a teenager, bands, guitar players, there was books, there was CDs. And although I was doing that mostly because I was a teenager at the time and I thought it would look cool, but at the same time, it was, without me thinking about it, it was inspiring me. Because every day I would see that artist, I would see that band, that book, and I would get inspired again to pick up the guitar and want to play their songs. So you don't have to go that crazy again. I mean, unless if you're a teenager and you want to stick your posters all over the wall, it's fine. But you can have maybe like a little sticky note, maybe a book on your desk, or a little more professionally framed picture of your favorite artist or band or whatever. Something that you'll see kind of at a glance there, and it'll kind of remind you and spark that ignition again inside of you. And just remember that every artist that you admire, they all started where you're at. What got them through on hard days wasn't talent, it was that spark, that ignition, and you have it too. One of the biggest things talked about in the talent code is about the idea of a master coach. A master coach is someone who knows how to help you grow. They don't just tell you what to play, they help you see your mistakes, help you how to fix them, and how to get through the hard parts. Now, they don't sugarcoat it, but they also believe in you even when you're struggling. And that's what makes them so powerful. They speed up the process by showing you the right way to process and giving you honest feedback. Now, here's the thing, not everyone can afford a great coach right away. And that's okay. You can still make amazing progress by doing a few smart things. The first one is by finding a virtual coach that you trust. Today, you don't need to be in the same town or even the same country as the good teacher. You can learn from great coaches through online lessons, buying courses, or even online communities. And if you're watching this video, you already found one. Me. I'm here to help you grow and stay motivated every step of the way. So if you want to get more exclusive access to me, join my newsletter on the link down below in the description. Now, number 2, we already talked about, and that is to record yourself. Now, recording yourself again, it'll show you your progress as you're going. You're able to stop the video, rewind, see where you make the mistakes, and adjust them as you need. But just remember, be kind to yourself, okay? Just because you're not seeing progress there doesn't mean that there isn't any. And number 3 is to join a community. It could be whether online or it could be somewhere in your town. Try to see if there's groups of people that get together and talk about guitar lessons, and you can learn some tips from them. Again, either online or in person. And the 4th one is to learn from great guitar players, whether that's a famous one or maybe it's one that you found on YouTube. See if they have any courses, see if they offer online lessons, And if they do offer courses, that gives you also the opportunity for you to actually slow down, rewind the video, and really focus on what it is that they're trying to show you. And that way you can master it better. Because at the end of the day, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to learn from the best and one step at a time. So a great coach can make learning faster and easier. And don't forget that the majority of guitar players, they all started off teaching also at some point. The most important thing is not having the most perfect, amazing coach. It's the willingness from you to want to learn, ask questions, and keep showing up. And if you stick with it, your future self will thank you. So let's take a deep breath now and look at what we've learned. You know that practicing any instrument is more than just moving your fingers or using your lungs. It's about training your brain with deep practice, building powerful habits with myelin, and working in a way that's smart, not just long. And most importantly, you've got that spark inside of you, the little fire inside of you called ignition, which is that feeling inside of you that says, I want this. Listen, I know that learning not just guitar, but any musical instrument can feel really tough at times. There are days where it feels like just nothing is working no matter what you do. You might think, maybe I'm not good at this, or maybe I'm too old and too late to actually start any musical instrument. But let me tell you something honest and real. You're not too late, you're not falling behind, and you absolutely can do this. You don't need to be a genius. You don't need to have the perfect fingers or the perfect lungs for this. You just need to show up. You're not just learning to play guitar or any musical instrument. You're building something more amazing inside of yourself. And that is patience, discipline, and confidence. And the best part of this is that you're not alone on this journey. I'm here with you every step of the way, making videos to help guide you and to support you. And if you want even more help, tips, and exclusive lessons, join my free newsletter with the link in the description down below. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a like, share it with anyone who might need this inspiration. Keep going, keep practicing, never forget, every great guitar player was once a beginner just like you. You've got this. I'll see you in the next video. Love you. Take care. Bye-bye.